Howdy, folks. This is Nico Caesar, co-hosting with Colin Marshall on Marshall Sports.
Hey guys, how's it going? So in the last video, I just realized that I actually said we were going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, and instead I was too focused on talking about how bad the Cowboys were. I wanted to give Nico a hard time. Unfortunately, the Cowboys have had a rough season, and I was avoiding touching on the good part of Dallas and the fact that the Mavericks have just taken the number one spot in the division over my Houston Rockets. So I just wanted to make another video, for his sake, to make him feel better, leave him with some good content that he could be proud of. So, where did the Mavericks come from? Because, I thought the Rockets were going to take it this season with Westbrook, but Luka and friends are just kind of taking over the division right now.
It's pretty crazy. We're sitting at number 2 in the Western Conference, and our whole team has been completely rearranged from the past couple years. We traded Harrison Barnes, got a young player in Justin Jackson. Harrison Barnes was great.
Nah, dude, I don't care.
He was not a star, but he was a great role player that needed a couple more pieces around him. I wish Luka and him played together because it would have been a crazy, crazy dynamic to have both of those. Right now our team is missing a scorer.
But okay, fair point about that. If you would have had Luka, it probably would have been better. He's not a star, but you have to admit, giving him that huge contract just because he was on the Golden State Warriors was a complete mistake of Mr. Mark Cuban, and I think he would admit that himself.
Yeah, I think his contract was about 4 years, $94 million, something incredible. I mean, he was a great role player for the Warriors, but I think that's his niche in wherever team he plays, especially a championship caliber team. He's not that guy that can take over the game and be that guy. He's more of that compliment, that jelly to that peanut butter, that milk to them cookies. He's not like the main entree. But let's go back to the Mavs young roster. So our whole roster is revamped. Dirk retired, and we kind of were looking for a younger team and a much more complete team. So about a couple years ago, we traded up for Luka. I can't even imagine us with Trae Young. That's who we drafted.
That's so weird to think about, that he was a Maverick for a very short period of time, but he was going to be a Maverick. You guys definitely got, the bigger end of the stick there.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me wrong, Trae Young has done great things for the Hawks, but Luka is just on a different level right now. That dude is insane.
He is tearing it up this year, and one thing that I was reading in one of the articles is the big debate between James Harden and Luka Doncic. Obviously, I have to bring it up because this is Houston and Dallas, but here's the main difference that I've seen, and this is something that the Mavs really needed, was Luka as being a creator of shots. He's a score first person, but overall he creates for Porzingis, he creates for Tim Hardaway Jr., and he makes the players around him better. I'm not saying that Harden does. Harden in his own right is, I think, the best scorer in the NBA.
But he shoots too many free throws, Nico. Shoots so many free throws.
Now, I do believe his game is boring. That's just me, and I don't believe it's a playing style that can win championships. But as far as stats and Hall of Fame status, Harden is incredible. He is so good.
That will be his legacy.
He will be one of the best individual ISO scorers in the history.
Also one of the best free throw shooters. Do not forget that.
And best free throws.
Us Houstonians take pride in the fact that we are great. Well, James Harden is a great, spectacular free throw shooter.
Yeah, man. I just would love to just go to a Rockets game and see some free throws,
That's so fun, man. But yeah, there's always been a big rivalry between Houston and Dallas. Not only football, but basketball's actually been a big rivalry too. I grew up watching not only Dallas with Dirk, but also the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and company, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. I watched them absolutely own my Rockets. And for the past few years, I've had the opportunity to actually watch my Rockets, not only dominate Dallas and San Antonio, but we've also pretty much dominated the division in this James Harden era. And I feel like this is the first year where Dallas poses a very serious threat to our reign over the Southwest Conference. Do you think that Dallas can keep it up for the remainder of the season?
It's going to depend on injuries and how our role players can work with our stars. I do believe Porzingis has not reached his potential. I still think he's still trying to find his role, trying to find his niche on the team. But I do believe, injuries aside, if everyone stays healthy, I do believe we make a run, maybe go into the second round of playoffs. I do believe when you get to the playoffs and how well you do is dependent on your bench play. And right now, our bench is playing out of its mind. We have people like J.J. Barea, Jalen Brunson, DeLon Wright. They come off the bench and are putting up double-digit points. It's stuff like that where, since we don't have a big three, we have a really good duo. But some nights and some games, Porzingis hasn't played. He hasn't put up the numbers that we all expect him to.
Right.
So having those secondary support role players to put up those points really helps us out, and that's what's carried us in beating the Lakers. Snapping their 10-game win streak. Playing against these bigger teams like the Rockets, it really does help us out. Knowing that we can rest Luka Doncic for like a third quarter and have our bench players not give up a lead or hold a steady lead.
Yeah, and Porzingis, you almost forget that he's on that roster. I mean, the total star of the New York Knicks, he was pretty much injured all year last year for the Mavericks. So you're right, he's finding his niche this year. They do have some massive depth. I can't stand J.J. Barea. He's the Patrick Beverley of the Dallas Mavericks. He's just like a little pest who doesn't go away. He doesn't retire. And he'll knock down some shot in a random moment. It'll just piss you off if you're the opposing team. That dude's just been around forever. The Mavericks are going to be good for a very long time. Speaking of, I really miss Patrick Beverley. That guy. He's the kind of guy you hate him. You hate him if you're playing him, but he's on your team, man. Like, I'm sure the Clippers fans, like, they love every second of that guy.
For sure.
And I miss him a lot, but.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I was looking at the 2011 championship roster, and J.J. Barea is the only person that is still on that team.
Who was on that team?
I mean, yes, it's 9 years ago, but we had our team was amazing. It was Dirk, Deshaun Stevenson, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler.
Tyson Chandler
In his prime, yeah. Who else?
Didn't you guys have
Jason Kidd?
Terry?
Jason the Jet.
Dude,
Terry.
He was pretty good for the Rockets for a while. He was on our 2014-2015 team that went to the Western Conference Finals and ultimately lost to the Golden State Warriors, as we usually do in the playoffs. But dude, he knocks down some clutch shots. In crunch time,
he's the Jet,
you can count on the Jet to get it done. Obviously, he got it done for you guys in that championship season.
Yeah, it seems like forever ago. But I do believe the Mavs are well on their way to becoming that team again. We're just going to need time. I do love how we're playing well, but I'm not expecting very big things now. I will expect things 2 years from now when we pick up a few more pieces and become a older team. I still think we have a lot of learning to do and a lot of chemistry that needs to be built.
Right, for sure. I mean, so there you have it from the Dallas native once again. His Dallas Mavericks are immature. They're not very experienced. Quite frankly, they're just a bad team. And like he said, the James Harden is the best free throw shooter in the NBA. It's a championship formula that's been proven time and time again. Charles Barkley will tell you so. One of the biggest Rockets fans. But yeah, like I said, or what Nico said, Dallas is just not a good team, and the Rockets are likely going to take over the Southwest Division once again, probably win it. yeah, the Spurs and the Mavericks sucked. If you like what you hear, click the subscribe button, like this video, check out the video we just posted like 5 seconds ago. It's just pretty funny. We're pretending that this is like a different time, but it's not this is literally 5 seconds later. But yeah.
Yeah, we should have changed shirts or something, make it seem like it was from another day.
Yeah. Well, whatever. All right, I gotta feed my cat, but you guys like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Marshall_Sports_. Until then, well, you might never see Nico again. Hopefully you see Nico again, but you might not. So just cherish this image of him. He's a beautiful man. I love him very much. One of my good friends, Mr. Nico and I. Sissa!
Thank you again for having me on the show, Colin.
Yep.
Go Marshall Sports!
Yep, see ya.